you able to maintain your language and culture, costumes
At home, yes.
at home?
Yes.
How did you maintain it? Because I know not a lot of. I mean, it's like Filipinos here who thinks they're so Americanized that they're ashamed. But how did you actually maintain the boundary of being Filipino and Americanized at the same time?
I still believe in the kissing hands.
Mm-hmm.
I instilled in my kids before they were of age, the curfew.
Mm-hmm.
And no one lived with anyone without the blessing of, the.
Yeah.
And at home, I still spoke to them in Tagalog.
Nice. Okay. Did you face any difficulties preserving the language and the culture in the Philippines?
It's not so much difficulty; it's the maintenance of it, because I talk to them in Tagalog, but they respond to me in English.
Yeah.
And then as they were growing up, they were questioning. They were already questioning. Why do we need to be back at this time? Why do we have to kiss their hands? Why do we call everybody older than us aunties or uncles? That type of thing. Yeah.
You're not used to.
Yeah. Only as they were getting older, but when they were younger, it was much easier to keep the culture and the tradition.
Yeah. Do you get homesick?
Yes. Yes. That's why I go home every year.
Do you plan on returning to the Philippines when you're fully retired, or do you plan on staying here?
No, I plan on staying 6 months there, 6 months here. So I don't know how you consider that.
Okay, so half.
It's half.
Okay. Okay. This is. I don't know if you consider this a hard question, but to me it is. But do you consider yourself as Filipino with letter P, or Filipino American with F and an American dash with a dash American? Because there's Filipino who likes to call them Filipino or Pinoy, Pinay. And there's also Filipino Americans who like Filipino letter F better, and then also with American part of their ethnicity, like Filipino American. So would you consider yourself Filipino or Filipino American?
I am Pinay living in America. That's what I consider myself. I am Pinay because I was born in the Philippines with the values still intact, culture, tradition still intact. But you can't help but adapt to where you are now. So I am Filipino American. See how I said that? American. Filipino Americana.
Nice said.
Yeah.
Nice said.
Only because I'm naturalized citizen. Yeah. But I'm very much a Pinay.
Nice said.
So with the P.
With a P.
Yeah.
Yes, with a P.
Proud.
Not a Finay.
Okay. So do you notice any difference between Filipino and Filipino American?
Yes, big difference.
Why do you think that?
I think it's because of the environment. It's because of the environment, and also I think it's because of the. It goes back to the parents that brought the kids here. It goes back to the parents that are rearing their children here. The Filipino parents, I mean.
Yeah.
If you try to stay away from your culture, from your own culture, naturally the kids are going to grow up with a different culture around a different culture.
That's true.
Yeah.
Do you think Filipinos here are the same as Filipino in the Philippines?
No.
Can you explain the difference between Filipinos here and Filipinos in the Philippines?
The Filipinos here are more, they want to be referred to as more westernized, more modern, more in the higher class. I don't know why is that, but the Filipinos in the Philippines are very warm. And I think it's because they have all the time to be warm.
Yeah.
The Filipinos here are kind of still struggling, and that plays a big part in the development of their personality, And life in the U.S. for the Filipinos here have toughened them up a little bit. That life here took the softer part of the Philippines,
That's
the
true.
Filipinos. Yeah.
Okay, so just to conclude,